Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, so the players are looking at the opening hands. The player to your right is the higher seed, so he'll be choosing to be on the play. So it looks like the Bant Company player does not like his hand, so he's going to mulligan, but the mono white human player does like his hand on the play. So you gotta imagine that he has a one drop. The best one drop that deck has is a Kithian, just because it could flip into Gideon. And for the Bant Company player, they do not have any one drops. The best thing they could have for them is probably a Lumbering Falls, just to be on green mana and have the blue mana for the rest of the deck, because they would probably want to play a turn 2 Sylvan Advocate. Although the same thing can be accomplished by a tapped Prairie Stream and actual forest. I'm not 100% sure if this list runs the Shadowlands or how many they should run. So it looks like he likes his 6. He's going to scry and keep it at the top. So we'll start out with a Port Town untapped, revealing a Plains and a Kithian. And so here's a Prairie Stream. And let's see what the mono-white Foundry's console. Now, this card is really amazing. It being a 2/1/4 striker, it's very good in combat. And once it does hit a player, it does become renowned, so it gets a +1/+1 counter, making itself bigger. And when it attacks, it makes all the other guys that it's attacking with bigger as well. So it's a really great card. And here's the declaration in stone to take care of the Sylvan Advocate. Now here's an open attack, so Kithian is not going to flip because it needs 3 creatures to attack, including itself. But the Consul's Lieutenant is going to become renowned, so all of the creatures that are going to be attacking with it are going to hit for that much harder. Okay, so the Bant Company player passes on 3, so you might have a Bounding Crisis. Mono white human player, he's going to play Thaler's Lieutenant. Now this is a card that made the human deck. Without this card, the human deck would not be good enough, in my opinion. See, as it's pumping up his entire board. As soon as it enters, and it's going to become bigger for every single creature that comes in. Now, so here's that Bounding Crisis. It's going to tap down the Lieutenant. So there's no safe attacks, because he would have to lose his Kithian to trade with the Bounding Crisis. But he's going to hold back on it, potentially to flip into a Gideon on his next turn, attacking with all 3. So here's an Advocate and a Duskwatch Recruiter. The Recruiter is really good in the late game because you can find him more creatures, or flip to reduce his cost for creatures. As it stands, I don't think that's going to become pretty relevant on this board. He needs to block with it. Okay, so here's a tapped Port Town. And let's see. So he's contemplating whether or not to play this card. It is a Thaler's Lieutenant, so it is going to give all the other humans +1/+1 counters. And since the other Thaler Lieutenant saw Hog come in, it's going to get a counter from a human coming in as well. And so this is a pretty big attack. As you can see right there, he briefly indicates that the quote-unquote entire team is getting buffed by +1/+1 from the Lieutenant. And now the Bant Company player is going to have to decide how to block. All blocks are really bad. Which is what he's doing right now, checking. If he lets the Kithian survive this combat, it will flip into Gideon. And that's going to be problematic, especially Gideon's +2 ability, forcing a creature to attack. It's rather annoying for the company deck, because they would want to pressure your life total and not necessarily keep going back and forth with loyalty on Gideon. So the company player decides to block Kithian with both the Duskwatch Recruiter and the Sylvan Advocate. Now, as it stands, the Kithian can only take one of the two creatures in combat, so he's going to choose the Recruiter. And at this moment, you might see some confusion. The Council's Lieutenant should only be hitting for 5, but there's a player mistake, and they reach the consensus that it hit for 6. The Lieutenant's ability only buffs other creatures. So when it attacks, it gives the rest of the team the buff, not itself. So with 2 lieutenants and, well, Thales lieutenants and the Council's lieutenants, this board state is pretty bad for the company player. So Declaration in Stone is going to take care of one blocker, and another Declaration is going to take care of the other, and that's going to be game. Now, in terms of matchup, this matchup is actually, I would say, kinda in favor of the Bant company player, if they're able to stabilize early enough. The thing about Bant company, because they are Bant, the 3 colors, a lot of the mana comes in tapped, and they really suffer for that in the early games. As you saw, the Kithian was able to attack in, and he was able to put down a Council's Lieutenant and attacking with those 2 to get the pressure going. But in the long game, with Collected Company and just the quality of the multicolored creatures in Bant Company's deck, the Mono White Humans player is, I would say, at a disadvantage. But again, this all depends on draws. If the Bant Company player doesn't draw Coco, as you saw in this game, he had to cast every single one of his threats instead of using Collected Company and really maximizing the effect of his creatures and his mana, then he might have been able to pull it off. Reflector Mage is a pretty good card in this matchup, but it's not amazing. If you're forced to bounce a Thales Lieutenant, which you probably should never do, because it will just come back and buff the already problematic team. Bouncing a Council's Lieutenant seems good. Maybe a Kithian that's about to attack in with 2 other creatures and flip into a Gideon. That's probably good. All the other creatures in the humans deck do not have any really that special of abilities. They do have Thraben Expectors, which might have another clue incoming if you bounce it and they have it come in, which can help them. But usually if you're in the position where you have to bounce a Thraben Inspector, you really don't care if they have another card, because that usually means you're taking it out to attack in and not so much to be on the back step. Now, in terms for the humans deck, the mono white version, it is very aggressive. It has a lot of 1-drops. So they are just trying to go in early and just finish the game real quick with Thales Lieutenants as a Anthem effect. Now, I'm not sure if in general the humans deck play them or this version plays them. Gideon is another way to get an Anthem effect. As you saw, the Council's Lieutenants is another way to get an Anthem effect if it's able to hit in once, which was extremely relevant in this case. I know for a fact, like especially if it's a mono white version, they have to run Knight of the Right Orchid, which can help ramp them, and it's a 2/2 for 2 that has Force Strike. Now, that's extremely relevant in this matchup. A lot of Bad Company's creatures just don't have Force Strike, period. But also they have normally 3 toughness. So if they're able to get a 2 power threat and get an Anthem going with Council's Lieutenant, Thalia with the counters, or Gideon with the emblem, these creatures are trading. And the Bad Company creatures usually cost 2 to 3 mana, while humans, they could drop a lot of 1-drops and 2-drops and then trade up from there. So this is going to be tricky. The Bad Company player definitely needs its namesake card company. The Mono White Humans player definitely needs ways to Anthem his creatures. So Council's Lieutenant, Thala's Lieutenant, possibly a Gideon. Without those on each deck, it's really a bad deck. It doesn't do what it's meant to do as efficiently as it should. Now, Bad Company without Collecting Company can still be really great, just based on the sheer value of the creatures that they have. But it looks like they're going to be moving on to game 2 here. They're looking at the opening hands. The Mono White player likes his hand again, and the Bad Company player does not. So as the Bad Company player, you probably are digging for whatever tap land you can get, and a green source, and Sylvan Advocate, and possibly multiple Sylvan Advocates. Sylvan Advocate at 2 mana with 2 power and 3 toughness is just big enough to do enough blocking that it's relevant. It could block a Council's Lieutenant and kill it before it could get renowned and buff the entire team. So this is very hard for the Bad Company player. Going down to 6 against an aggressive deck, you want to hit perfect. Oh, he's going to go down to 5. Now you absolutely have to hit perfect. So again, with 2 cards I would pick: tap land, green source, Sylvan Advocate. Just based on me going to 5 as a Bad Company player, I would hope for the perfect draw 2 Sylvan Advocates. And then maybe a Dromoka's Command. So you would want some sort of white source, some sort of green source, Advocate, Dromoka's Command. That might be just aggressive and defensive enough that you don't get run over with 5 cards in hand. Now, on the human side, they might just have a great opening hand. They might have Kithian, next turn, 1-drop, and then turn after that, be able to attack in and flip into Gideon. Okay, so here's the first one, is the Canary Vista, so that's great. And here's the Thraben Inspector, which investigates, which he might pop that off to draw, but here's the Council's Lieutenant. Now, the Bad Company player did not play a land drop. He finds his second land drop right here. So he did have the Sylvan Advocate, so this is the way he rebuilds. And so here's another Council's Lieutenant. And see, just the sheer fact that the Advocate is there, A cannot attack in. Now this is interesting. The Bad Company player decides to attack in with Sylvan Advocate. And with the Council's Lieutenants being 2/1s with Force Strike, this is a very bad attack. Because he's going to be able to take out the Sylvan Advocate, no problem. Now, he tapped a green and white, so he has Dromoka's Command. But even then, Dromoka's Command, you're still going to 2-for-1 yourself. This way you take out one of the lieutenants, but you could have done that with just casting Jamoka's command without losing your Sylvan Advocate. But this way you're gonna it was really bad. Okay, so here's another land. So that was Thaler's Lieutenant and then Thaler's Lieutenant. So counters for everyone, and then it's gonna swing in, and then also the lieutenant is gonna get renowned. So that was an extremely quick game. Just overall, it was a really quick match. As you can expect from mono humans, they're the most aggressive of the human strategies. Personally, I like white bleed humans, but what can I say? So, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to leave a comment, go ahead. Positive, negatives, I don't care. I just appreciate interaction. So if you guys would like modern commando, I'm trying to get that stuff in the works, but I need people to, I guess, give me the information, say that they want to be a part of the videos. But I'll be shooting these FNM, super FNMs, pretty much anytime I can. If I could, I would have shot the Grand Prix. Can't actually shoot the Grand Prix. But hope to see you guys at GPLA. I'm going to be going. Hope you guys are going. I'm really excited. What modern decks are you guys going to be playing? If anybody who knows me and has played modern against me, I am a Soul Sisters guy. Yeah, I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you later.